What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Channel. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show, and I know, holy shit, it's on the day it's supposed to. I know this is a big deal. I just wish we had better things to talk about. Not saying that we have nothing to talk about or the everything we're talking about this week sucks. It's just not a whole hell of a lot. I'll kind of do this before I go into what we're talking about this week. If you're new to the program, basically what we do, we sit here, we talk video game news. You know, I read articles, we watch videos. I've got a couple videos actually lined up for the end of the show this week. That's basically what we do. Timestamps and links and everything are down in the description if you kind of want to move about and whatnot. Now on to actually what we're talking about this week. The title kind of ties in more with the videos than the articles, because the videos are kind of a look at what we're going to be playing later in the week with the two new games coming out on Friday, those being Death Stranding and Need for Speed Heat. We're going to be taking a look at the Death Stranding launch trailer, which I think trailer might be a light term when it's an 8 goddamn minute trailer. And then we're going to be taking a look at about 25-ish minutes of Need for Speed Heat gameplay from PlayStation Underground. I'm kind of interested in it. I haven't really seen a lot of gameplay for it. I know the basic idea. There's going to be like sanctioned racing in the day and like street racing, like underground shit at night. I'm sitting here just really hoping that the game doesn't turn out to be The Crew, even though I have a very strong feeling it's going to turn into The Crew, but that's neither here nor there right now. We'll take a look at the actual at the gameplay, and I'll make a little bit more of a decision then. And I guess this kind of brings up, because I have two announcements, and I guess the first announcement being, seeing that I already mentioned Death Stranding, is that the Death Stranding Let's Play, it's not going to be late, so to speak. It's just going to be later on Friday. It'll still be on the day the game comes out, but I might only be able to get one video done before I have to go to work. I'll try and make it more of like a longer, like hour and a half, sort of 2-hour video, like a really meaty video. The reason it's going to be later in the day than what Need for Speed Heat is because I'm getting the limited edition PS4 Pro for Death Stranding, so I actually have to go and pick it up from Best Buy, so I have to wait till they open, then I have to get it, bring it home, get everything, get all the updates and run everything installed, get my account set up, get the game set up and everything before I can even play it. And if you're wondering, AJ, why the hell don't you, what the hell was I thinking? AJ, why the hell don't you have it delivered? Well, the easy answer for that is I live in the Midwest, and the weather is always up for grabs, especially in early November. So I don't want it sitting out in the freezing. If it turns out to be like freezing cold, I don't want it just to decide to snow. I don't want it just to decide to rain. So it's just to protect the console. That's why, it's like, apparently my Pokemon Sword and Shield Let's Play is going to be delayed a couple days, because I have to wait for Target to deliver my special, because I bought the double pack, because it comes in that really cool steel bookcase, and I'm weird like that, because I need that steel bookcase, so I have to have that delivered to my house. Target can't ship it on day one, apparently. Either way, that's enough of that announcement. It's like I said, Death Stranding will happen. It's just going to be later in the day on Friday than really early in the morning. So I apologize for that, but not much I can do about it. On to my second announcement. I am going to actually be doing I'm not going to be doing a stream. I'm going to be appearing on a stream on Akita Touchdown's channel. We don't think we've hammered out a time yet, mostly because I forgot to double check with him on that. Before I started recording the show, I kind of just woke up about 30 minutes ago and then realized, oh shit, I haven't done that yet, but I need to get this show done. So I'm going to appear on a stream for him. We're going to be doing a little bit of Apex Legends duos. I keep trying to say Apex Predators, and I know it's Randy Orton, but whatever. But we're going to be playing a little bit of duos for Apex Legends. So if you're interested in that, I'll be putting up another video in the coming day and a half or so. Because we'll be doing the stream on Tuesday, sometime Tuesday night. Yeah, I'll be doing another video when we have like the exact time and everything set up. So keep an eye out for that. And I believe that's all of our announcements. Yep, that's all we've got right now. So let's actually hop into our first article here, and that is Anthem, head of live services, departs BioWare as another one falls. Article Robert Ramsey of Push Square. It's safe to assume that not many people are working on Anthem right now. The game's not many, that's about right. The game's had one heck of a rough year, launching all the way back in February. God damn it, it's only been a year since that game came out. It feels a lot longer than that. To lukewarm reviews and then gradually falling apart in the months that followed, we'd be shocked if it currently has anything that remotely resembles a healthy user base at this point. Man, they're going right for the kill right at the opening paragraph. And the bad news just keeps coming. Chad Robertson, head of live services of BioWare and one of the key voices behind Anthem, is leaving the developer next week. Robertson has been with the company for 14 years. Quote, "This is my last week with BioWare. I've been with the company for 14 years and am grateful for everything I've been a part of here." Star Wars: The Old Republic. Yeah, that's not an accomplishment. Or, well, I guess your only real accomplishment is getting me excited every time I hear Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then my brain has to go, no, AJ, no, that's The Old Republic, that's the online game, not Knights of the Old Republic, which was the amazing RPG. Don't get excited. Anthem, the Austin studio, and BioWare are in, okay, yeah. So he's saying all these products are in good hands. You can expect great things ahead. End quote. He wrote on Twitter. Naturally, we wish Chad all the best in his future endeavors. Robertson's departure comes just 2 and a bit months after lead producer Ben Irving left the studio. It's not entirely uncommon for key members of a development team to leave once a project no longer requires their input, but in the case of Anthem, it's hard not to be cynical. Well, yeah, and especially when this guy is, what was his exact title again? It was something really long. Yeah, key voice, Chad Robertson. Head of live services. For a game that's basically a live service, you'd think that would be an ongoing role. I'm just saying. Hard not to be cynical. Honestly, it just feels like we're waiting on the seemingly inevitable word of Anthem's cancellation, although it's difficult to pinpoint when that might happen. It should be just now. I was reading in the comments of this article, and remember that I think this one just about says it all. And remember that Dragon Age 4 was put on hold for this game. Well, clearly they realized that Anthem failed, so maybe they'll scrap the idea and make Dragon Age 4 an online service game. There's already talks of that. The only thing they can do right now is make it SP only with the version of Dragon Age 1 and 2, although 3 was not bad either. I loved Dragon Age 3. I loved Inquisition. I know that one's a little divisive. Hell, I know 2's divisive. I like 2. Or I guess 2's widely hated. I like 2. I'm going to be entirely honest. 1's, I like 1. I really do like 1. It's a very good RPG. I think 2 is better than people give it credit for. And I thought 3 was really good. But so I'm talking Dragon Age now, not Anthem. No, I think that commenter is exactly right. How funny is it that Dragon Age 4 got put on hold for this game, that they're like, this is going to revitalize BioWare. This is going to do it. After the shit show that we put on with Mass Effect Andromeda, and I feel bad even saying that, but let's be honest, that's basically public sentiment with that game. Even though I'm like, it wasn't that bad. That's public sentiment. After they're getting beat around for that game, after Dragon Age Inquisition, again, I'm going to say is kind of divisive. I think that people either liked it or hated it. Or at least that's the vibe I've gotten with Inquisition. I'm not sure if that's really kind of changed in recent years, but that's always the vibe I've gotten when I heard about Inquisition. 2 wasn't very well received. You know, like I said, I know the Old Republic has a fan base. It's just, I don't think it's that, like, a big chunk of what BioWare has. They decided to take one of their biggest franchises and put the next game on hold to make a totally different game from what they've ever made, and now it's floundering. It's floundering, and just it's kind of funny. You know, I think that's what I'm getting at. It's funny that they put that landmark franchise on hold for this piece of crap. I mean, I thought, I can't even remember what I scored Anthem at the end of my Let's Play. I think I might have scored it like a 6. It has moments where it can be fun, but No, it's a game that's trying to cash in on this live multiplayer. Give me a second. Sorry, excuse me. It's trying to cash in on this live multiplayer sort of phenomena that we're seeing go about right now. And the problem is, and this is what I have talked with me and Brian Gade, we've had multiple long discussions in the comments. I've said this in multiple videos, and I'll say it again right now. Developers who are trying to push this games as service, live service model, this unlimited gameplay, whatever the flip you want to call them. Developers keep trying to push games towards this because you can do microtransactions and try and monetize it way after launch. I kind of understand the push to it. But something that I don't think a lot of people understand or seeing, and maybe I'm seeing something that isn't there too. I'll throw it back on myself. Maybe I'm seeing something that they are seeing. But the way I see it, this type of game has a very finite player base, and what I mean by that is, think about MMOs. Think about WoW think about World of Warcraft at its height. How many other big MMOs were there? I know that there were other big MMOs. I know that I know that World of Warcraft was not the only one. But name me another MMO that was able to compete head to head with World of Warcraft at the time. I can't think of one. I mean, maybe it's because I'm not big in the MMO community, but I can't think of one MMO that has pierced culturally that World of Warcraft has. And I find that games like these sort of live games, only one big one can pierce culture and can be as big as it was. And so, like I said, I think World of Warcraft was like that. I think that League of Legends and Dota, I think, kind of were able to find a balance. Overwatch was able to do it with that hero shooter thing, because look at that in Battleborn. Nobody has really tried to compete with Overwatch. I think Overwatch might have died a little bit. And granted, we have Overwatch 2 that just got announced. We'll talk about that a little later. But, Overwatch was something. Destiny was kind of this console brand, sort of MMO kind of game that really proliferated, and that games like Anthem and everything have tried to follow up on. But I don't think anything has ever really captured what Destiny did. I think in both terms of quality and terms of audience reception. I don't really think there's one game that has taken off. I'm even trying to go down the list. There's more examples I could come up with if I think a little harder. But basically what I'm saying is only one of these games can really exist at this massive level at a time. It's because these sort of games rely on a consistent player base and repeat logins. Or what is it? Consecutive logins, I think is what it's called. These games need people to keep coming back for more day after day after day after day. And the problem is, people who do that aren't going to go, okay, I'm going to play an hour of Anthem today, and today I'm going to play an hour of Anthem, and an hour of Destiny, and an hour of The Crew, and an hour of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and an hour of The Division 2, and an hour of this, and an hour of that. It's way too much. I kind of do that with single-player games, but I think it's a little easier to do with single-player games, but I'll get into that. I'll kind of make my comparison to the single-player market in a second. But the reason why it's really hard to do that with games like these, it's because people have so many hours in the day, and the thing is, you need people in the servers for these games to really work. You need multiple people in the servers to make these sort of MMOs, these lifestyle games, work. Because there's an entire reason why they have to be. Why you have to be hooked up online. For the entirety of the game to work, you need people online to play them. And that's why it's a problem when they're trying to oversaturate this market with people playing just like an hour of like 8 or 9 different games. It's kind of hard to do with all of these games that require people to be playing them. Now, let's go over to the single-player market, where I don't think that filling the market with so many single-player games is necessarily... It's a little different. And my reasoning for that is, you can play it. I can decide to put a single-player game on the shelf for a couple days and come back to it later and my experience won't have changed. And that's because I don't have to worry about other people playing the game. I can just pull it off my shelf and pick it up where I left off at any time. I can play multiple single-player games, and any time during the day that I choose to play, my experience is going to be the same. I'm not going to have to worry about it. I think that you can have way more single-player games, or hell, I can decide to let a single-player game sit around for a year and then go and pick it up, and it's the same experience as if I decided to play a year ago. Anthem, Destiny, The Division, any of these games, if I let them sit on the shelf for about a year and a half, well, hell, support could have ended for them in that year and a half. That's what I'm talking about. These live service games need to do well from the very start and continue to bring people in. Because if they don't, you might as well not make them or even have them, and then you just wasted money on a game that's not going to make you dick. That's what I'm talking about. I know I'm probably not using. I'm probably being way roundabout. I'm trying to speak slowly. I'm trying to get what makes sense in my brain out to you guys. But this is, I think, the big crux of the issue, and that is these live service multiplayer games need to be hits right away, while single player games, like I said, can sell up to years later and don't have to worry about servers and don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, you want them to sell in the moment, but it's the cool thing about single player gaming. It's again, overall, I'll stop rambling here. BioWare made a mistake with Anthem. I'm not going to say whether or not they shouldn't have even tried to make Anthem, but I'm saying pushing back something like Dragon Age 4 in lieu. No, I'm sorry. Let me start that sentence over. Pushing back something like Dragon Age 4 and instead deciding to focus on Anthem, I think was a really bad move. I think I said this way back when. I said, make Dragon Age 4, make it good, bring back some good faith to your company, because I think they'd lost a lot of it with Mass Effect Andromeda. So I'd say make a really good Dragon Age game, bring back some public faith, and then do something experimental with Anthem. But what happens? It doesn't do well. I don't know. I feel like I made myself clear. Like I said, I've made this point in the past that I think this sort of live service thing is a very finite market, and I don't think I don't think a lot of the industry is realizing it, because the market keeps getting flooded and these games keep having these like flash in the pan receptions. It's people come in, they play it, realize it's not good, and just fucking leave. And when everyone leaves and there's only a few people playing it, well, is there really a point to them anymore? Because your story's not going to keep people around. Your gameplay is Swiss cheese, because a lot of the gameplay requires other fucking people. That's the problem. That's the problem with these games that single-player games don't have. I would much rather you try and sell me DLC. Like, hey, here's a cosmetic DLC, or here's a this, here's a that. You do the again, what I keep saying that I think CD Projekt Red did the smartest thing. What I think the developers for Dying Light 2 are going to be trying to do, which is some free small stuff and bigger expansions. But it's exactly what CD Projekt Red did with The Witcher 3. I keep saying I'm going to stop rambling. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna move on to the next article before I keep talking. I suppose, kind of keeping to the same topic, we're moving on to our BlizzCon topics, which was the Diablo 4 announcement and the Overwatch 2 announcement. But apparently Diablo 4 won't have an offline mode. All versions are online only. Article Tamur Hussein of GameSpot. And before anybody asks, no, we will not be discussing. The fact that wasn't it Blizzard's president who came out and apologized for the whole Blitzchung thing, but also said, yeah, but we're not rescinding the bans or anything. We're sorry, but all punishments stand. Again, man, just keep shooting yourself in the foot. Why not? It's funny. Either way. Apparently, Blizzard has confirmed that Diablo 4 will not have an offline mode. Speaking during a panel held at BlizzCon 2019, lead designer Angela Del Fiore Well, that's correct. Addressed the question about whether the game can be played solo or whether it will support a, quote, full offline mode, end quote. Quote, we are not going to support an offline mode because we're dumb. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing. Del Piore replied, but as I said before, nothing in Diablo 4 is going to require partying up. You can play solo and dungeons are private. Campaign quest areas will also remain private, end quote. Okay. Then here's a question. Why make it online only? If it can be done private, if I can play solo dungeons, and if I can play solo and the dungeons are private, and this is private, and that's private, why the fuck do you make it online only? Just like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, same question. So are all of the live world and the live components completely fucking pointless? Or what's the other word I like? Superfluous? What is the point of them? Really, stop playing Fortnite. But seriously though, what is the point of it if these modes aren't required? I don't get it. I've said this about, I honestly think this about a lot of these games, stuff like The Division, stuff like The Crew. Why can I not play it single player offline? I do not get it, because so much of the game can be played single player. Why not just let that stuff exist offline? I don't understand it. I don't know, maybe you could even sell me on some of these games if I can turn these shared world features off. And the reason I say that is because I play offline. I generally keep my network off, but that's generally because I have it's a weird thing with me. I don't like people knowing what I'm doing all the time, so it's kind of like, oh look, AJ's playing this and he just got a trophy in this. I'm like, no, I don't like that. I know there's something I do in privacy settings, but I generally don't like people knowing when I'm playing games and what I'm doing, and it's just it's a weird thing to me. I'm that way with the government. I'm that way with people. Yeah, if I could go live somewhere off the grid, I would. But sadly, my job required me to be fingerprinted. But it's just a thing with me. I'm paranoid. But it's like I said, I prefer to play offline. But these games won't let me for no real reason. It's dumb. And maybe it's so they can throw ads at me saying, hey, buy our DLC, like every goddamn time I turn on Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So this shouldn't be much of a surprise to Diablo players on PC, especially those that played Diablo 3, which has required an internet connection to function since its launch. This is also the case for the majority of Blizzard's other major franchises, such as World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and StarCraft. However, console versions of Diablo 3 do include the ability to play offline. Diablo 4 is in... Sorry, my antivirus apparently did not find any threats. There we go. Kind of blah, blah, blah. Diablo 4 is in development for PS4 and Xbox One, as well as PC. In a statement to GameSpot and Blizzard representatives, has confirmed that Diablo 4 will be online only across all versions, including PS4 and Xbox One. At BlizzCon, we played some of Diablo 4, and it felt the live aspect of the game introduced something new to the franchise. Like fucking what? The return to the series' darker occult roots is also one of the most distinct aspects of the game. You can read our full Diablo 4 impressions for more. And we will be going into, I think, some of the classes that we have in Diablo 4. Which, I'm going to be honest, Diablo 4 is not really a big thing to me. Because I've never been a Diablo guy. I'm not even going to play Diablo 4. I don't care that it's offline, that it has no offline mode. And I know that's going to make people ask, well, then why am I getting so heated up about this? It's more about the trend in the industry, kind of going back to what we were talking about in the last video. I just think it's dumb. And I stand by that. I think it's dumb. But either way, let's move on to actual Diablo 4 news. I just thought this would be a fun little thing to throw in there, given the topic of the last article. Coming by way of GameSpot, Michael Hyman, Diablo 4, Druid, Barbarian, and Sorceress featured in gameplay trailer. BlizzCon 2019 kicked off. Let me pause that. I'm sorry, the moving picture distracts me. BlizzCon 2019 kicked off with the official reveal of Diablo 4. Excuse me. the upcoming entry in the long-time RPG franchise. While we got to see a lengthy cinematic trailer, a gameplay trailer soon followed that showed three classic classes in action: Barbarian, Sorceress, and Druid. All three classes call back to Diablo 2 and the Lord of Destruction expansion packs. The Barbarian looks to be a close-range melee class that can dual-wield axes and use a number of physical abilities, while Sorceress is a magic-based class that can combine spells to wreak havoc from long range, and Druid separates itself from the pack with a spell to transform into a bear of sorts, attack from mid-range with some magic. You can see all this in gameplay videos below. Diablo 4 maintains the classic isometric action RPG formula, but adds more like multi-level terrain with verticality. The game also appears to sport a darker, more realistic-looking art style, a slight departure from Diablo 3's cartoonish vibe. Diablo 4 is set decades after the events of Diablo 3's Reaper of Souls expansion. The final shot of the trailer shows Lilith in-game, who seems to be the main villain this time let me start this sentence over in a way that actually makes sense. The final shot of the trailer shows Lilith in-game, who seems to be the main villain this time around, based on the cinematic trailer. There we go. There will be 5 classes in total, but the final 2 have not yet been announced. The game world will be much larger than the previous games, featuring 5 distinct but contiguous, that's a hard word to say, regions to help you get around more quickly. You'll have access to a mount and even be able to use dismount abilities, letting barbarians, for instance, leap off and perform an attack in one smooth motion. Blizzard President J. Allen Barrick says the game has been under development for quite some time. It's also playable on the show floor for all coverage of Blizzard, blah, 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 blah. I really don't have much else to say about Diablo 4. Again, it's like I said, I've never really played Diablo, although I do know that this has been a highly anticipated game for a long time, and I hope Diablo fans are excited. I just kind of wanted to go through that and kind of give you your little look at here's what Diablo's going to be featuring. So on to the other big announcement that we had from BlizzCon, which is Overwatch 2. By way of Games Radar, Overwatch 2 will have new heroes, including Sojourn. Is that how that's pronounced? Alyssa Mercante of, as I said, Games Radar. Again, this isn't just about the new heroes. This is a little bit of an overlook into what to expect from the new Overwatch. Overwatch 2 is coming, and so are Overwatch 2 is coming, and so are a new band of heroes. There we go. Jesus Christ, I can't read today. According to Jeff Kaplan's presentation at BlizzCon during the Overwatch 2 cinematic trailer, we caught a glimpse of 2 new heroes, the previously spotted Echo and the newly revealed Sojourn. All the heroes in Overwatch 2 will be customizable in the game's new PvE mode, which is honestly a big thing that I'm actually interested in, because I played Overwatch, and while I didn't just hate it, I'm sitting there going, I'd get bored of this really quickly. It's not bad. It's a fun little cartoony shooter, but it's not for me. But the addition of a sort of story and a PvE mode does interest me. Like, I did put it on Twitter because there was, I can't remember if it was an IGN opinion or somebody said something about the lines of, I'd much rather have an Overwatch story mode edition rather than an Overwatch 2. And I'm thinking, why is it the only thing I can think of for a story mode for Overwatch would be something like Brink? I don't know why Brink comes to mind, but that's, if anybody remembers that weird game. Where was I? Echo is a robot hero who has been referenced in Overwatch lore before. She's even in Reunion, the animated short that revealed Ashe. In it, Gunslinger McCree tells her that Overwatch needs you. Kaplan did not officially confirm Echo as a playable hero in Overwatch 2, but she was featured in the recap video before the cinematic trailer, and also swoops in to save the day in the trailer itself. It appears Echo can remain in the air for lengthy periods of time. In the trailer, she's perpetually in flight, which would make this character a literal game changer. Pharah can only stay airborne for as long as her jets have power. Mercy can only fly during her ult or hover over teammates she's currently healing. Kaplan did officially confirm that Sojourn will be a new hero, a notable addition to the Overwatch squad, and she'll be the first black woman in the game. And something fans have been requesting for a long time. whatever. I'm just gonna let that go. Sojourn is definitely a DPS character, and she's even wielding a large energy-powered gun that fires like Soldier 76's machine gun. As Kaplan said, the presentation, the newest map will be set in Toronto. Ugh. So I'm wondering if Sojourn isn't Canadian. There's a design not unlike the maple leaf of the Canadian flag on her sleeve of her uniform. Canada, gross. As far sorry, I got to take shots at Canada. Samori Roden, I love you, man. You've been a fan for a long time, but you know me. I've got to take shots at Canada whenever I can. As far as the existing heroes, every one of our favorites will be getting a glow up. Or quote new look, as it's referred to in the trailer. From the looks of it, it just seems like some slight visual upgrades to make Overwatch 2's art style a bit more polished than the original. For example, Tracer and Mercy's hair look a bit softer and less aggressively shiny. It seems like the art style is more like the one seen in the cinematic shorts. And Overwatch 2's new story mode will allow you to participate in hero missions, leveling up your favorite heroes as you go. You'll be able to customize your hero's abilities, with more desirable and likely OP options coming at higher levels. I spotted a new Mei freezing ability and different Reinhardt hammer smashes. A great example is Tracer's skill tree. Check it out below in the picture snapped from the gameplay trailer. Okay, so we have like an adaptive reload. We have a hindsight ability, chain reaction. Okay, so it's as levels go up, you get like new perks or something. Can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in, so I can't see the exact what they are, but yeah. As confirmed by Kaplan, Overwatch and Overwatch 2 will support crossplay and PvP modes, so all maps, heroes, and unlocks will be available across the titles. That means any new heroes that drop with Overwatch 2 will be immediately available in the original game. Okay, that's something nice for the players. I gotta give them that. Overwatch 2 is going to shake things up whenever it launches, so you better prepare yourself, get your hands on the new system, blah, 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 blah. I mentioned Overwatch earlier when I was talking about these live service games, and as much as I'm not a fan of Overwatch, I will say I think Blizzard has handled Overwatch well. It's been a multiplayer. It's a live service game, but it's not lying about what it is. It's not trying to be something else. It's basically been an online multiplayer shooter game that's trying to mix kind of like MOBAs and shooters. I think it works. Not my cup of tea, but I get why people enjoy it. I'm glad people enjoy it. I'm not really sure how the loot boxes and the microtransactions. I'm not sure if it's been as predatory as a lot of other series have been. I think it's there, but it's not been as bad as anything else. So you know what? I think for the most part, for me, Overwatch gets a pass. Now, am I excited for Overwatch 2? No. Will I give it a shot now that I know there's a story mode, and will that maybe bring me in to play the multiplayer? Sure. I'll give the single player a shot and everything, because I have like the cartoony style. I love McCree because I love cowboys and revolvers and whatnot. But for the most part, no, I'm not excited for Overwatch 2. I think Overwatch 2 will be a lot like Overwatch 1, but you know what? I will give Blizzard some props. I think they're handling, like I said, the crossover between the original and the new one very well. I think they're adding some stuff to make people like me more interested in the game. They're trying to bring in some more fans. So I'll give them credit and I'll give the game a shot. But, if you're talking about the things for next year that I'm excited about, again, that's The Last of Us 2. That's Cyberpunk 2077. That's other stuff that is not Overwatch, but I'll hand it to them. They have at least piqued my interest. That's how I'll put it. So that's all for the articles. Let's move on to the videos. All right, the first video we've got here is the Death Stranding launch trailer. This is, I think trailer isn't the right word. It's almost 8 minutes long. Jesus. Really, I've got to say, I've been surprised with the reviews I've been seeing of this game lately. Maybe not necessarily surprised. I figured this game was either going to be a love it or hate it, that there was going to be a lot of... there was going to be a lot of people... there were going to be a lot of people who loved what it was trying to do, and a lot of people who were saying, ugh. But what surprised me is a lot of critics were kind of balking at it, which is weird to me, because I figured that this game was going to be kind of artsy, kind of weird, And I figured that would be right up a lot of critics' alley, and I'm surprised it wasn't. I mean, IGN gave this what, like a 6.5, which is surprising to me. And I know that there's a lot of people are waiting for it and are kind of wondering what the hell do I take from this. You know, I had to laugh. I saw somebody on. I saw one of IGN's editors who was on Twitter saying something like, well, this is why I edit out terms like, well, it's not for everyone. Well, don't be ashamed of, you know, then she's like, I edit that out because don't be ashamed of liking something. And I'm sitting here thinking, no, there's nothing wrong with the phrase, it's not for everyone. Because that's an opinion. That's a look. This game's gonna. Because I use that phrase a lot, or I use for fans of the franchise, for fans of this. That this game is more for people who already enjoy this series or enjoy games like XYZ. And a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't mention that stuff in reviews. And I sit and go, no. I think that's important to mention to people. Like, hey, look, do you like the previous games? You're probably gonna like this one. You know, or do you not like the previous games? Well, then you're probably not gonna like this one. You know, it's like, I see nothing wrong with saying, well, this game isn't for everyone, meaning that there's going to be a certain number of people who like it and a certain number of people who don't. I don't see a problem with that. Sorry, I got off track. Just that was something that was stuck in my head from a couple days ago when I was browsing Twitter. But yeah, if anything, the reviews have made me even more interested in this game. I'm just like, what the hell is it? But let's either way, let's stop rambling. Let's take a look at this.
BB, don't worry. It's okay. I'll always be with you.
See the sunset. The day is ending. There's no pretending. I will hold you.
Freeze!
And protect you. So let love warm you. I'll stay with you by your side. Close your tired eyes. I'll wait, and soon I'll see your smile in a dream.
Tell me, Sam, what does America mean to you? Way my dad made it sound, we were something special. The glue that held it all together. More than a nation, a symbol of freedom and hope. We could bring it all back if we kept on making deliveries and connecting people. He was sure of it.
Sam, we want you to go west and finish what Emily started. The people she left behind have been hard at work, setting up chiral network terminals. But these terminals are still isolated. We need you to bring them online. And for that, you'll need a Cupid. This is how we'll rebuild our country.
I'll stay with you in your mind every single day. I'll wait.
She's fine.
And soon we strike
Extinction's on hold for now.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Like always, this game's got so many really just cool visuals that I have no fucking clue what is happening. Like I'm trying to figure out what the DBs are, what's with this like rival military faction? Like is this like a like a heartwarming story about connecting people? Is this a military sort of style game? Is this FedEx the video game? What the fuck is this? I mean, I know this isn't commentary, but all I can do during these trailers is sit here and just go, wow. Because that's all I've got. Because I can't say anything specific. It blows me away, man. Hell, half the time I'm just getting blown away by the music choices, and the visuals. I mean, look, you say what you want about the gameplay itself or whatever. Hideo Kojima, man, I still say, man, dude's a genius. Even with how he's marketing this game, the guy's a genius.
What's the other mark from?
Clinging woman in a cave.
I see. Aphenphosmphobia. Sam, I owe you an apology. Lou was the name you were going to give your old baby if he'd had made it. I should have pieced it together sooner.
Don't know what you're talking about.
You're the one I wanted to send, Sam. Time's running out. Help Amelie. She needs you.
You have to break some ties to forge others. Can't be tied to everything.
The world's still broken. Same as before.
What isn't? But we're still here. We're still chugging along.
Not everyone. Not me.
Come on. You put America back together, didn't you?
You didn't have to cut all ties and walk away. The president was right about that much.
Wasn't anything to walk away from. It's not like I was ever welcome there.
Come on, even I was welcome.
Everyone crying. And there are some... Oh yeah, Troy Baker's in this game. Forgot about that. I'm sorry, he got lost in the other big names like Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen.
Caused by an extinction entity. And now it's time for number 6. Take care of Lou.
I will.
Couldn't find a working still mother east of Port Knot City. Kid's done enough. No more.
The decommissioning order finally came through.
Dead.
Poor thing was never truly alive. Not in this world, at least.
I had no idea until you told me. No idea that I was alive. Living is no different from being dead if you're all alone. I'm on the beach, Sam. Our beach. The one where I was born. Come and find me.
I'm not the only one wearing masks either. There's your boss man, and that woman, and oh, let's not forget little old you.
Did I ever tell you my real name? I wanted to. It's Amerigo. After Amerigo Vespucci, the man who discovered the continent.
I thought it was Columbus.
Except Amerigo was full of it. He lied. America is a lie.
Yeah. I don't know why I found that funny.
I'll have to touch you. Close your eyes. Now picture Amelie in her beach. You love There it is.
Whoa.
Oh, it's almost time.
God damn, man. I wouldn't even say that I'm so excited to play the game as I am just to figure out what the fuck is going on in this game. I like, either way, I'm excited. November 8th, man. As I said at the beginning of the show, the Let's Play will be up a little later in the day. Like I said, just due to logistical reasons, but I'm pumped. I can't wait. I hope you guys are excited too. This is probably going to be a series where I do like really long videos, where I do like 2-hour or so chunks, like just because I feel like a lot of this game is going to be like a lot of wandering around the world and whatnot, based on what Hideo has said about it. So I don't know 100% how the hell we're going to be doing this game. But like I said, it'll probably be some really like long, meaty videos. So that's all I got for this one. But we still got another good chunk of time left. We're gonna watch the what did I say? It wasn't Need for Speed Heat gameplay video. All right, guys, on to our final piece of business in this video. We got about 28 and a half minutes of Need for Speed Heat gameplay. This is on PlayStation Underground, so there will be excuse me, sorry. There will be commentary or whatever over this from the video. PlayStation Underground, they do a lot of like little looks into games before they come out. As far as my thoughts on Need for Speed Heat, I'm kind of sad we're not seeing a direct continuation of Need for Speed Payback, because Payback ended on a cliffhanger and was actually pretty good. I like the characters in Need for Speed Payback. I like the concept. It was, I really liked the game. I kind of wish the cops worked a little better. It's similar to what Most Wanted did, because honestly, Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PS2 was my favorite Need for Speed game. I'll even throw Carbon in there as a close second, because both of those were, in my opinion, very good games. But I really liked Payback, and I would like to see them come back. But you know what? I could get behind Need for Speed Heat as long as it still tries to bring me in with character and story, which I have a feeling it won't. But because, again, from everything I've seen, it just so much makes me think we're trying to be as much like the Crew as possible without being the Crew. So I don't know what to expect here, but I'm really hoping after the big success that was Payback that they, or at least in my opinion, the success that was Payback, they don't just fuck it up.
You'll see things that remind you of those areas.
Kristen, anything look familiar to you here?
Oh, very much so. I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
For reference.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of PlayStation Underground. You got Tim and Kristen here.
Hey.
And we're joined by some special guests from Ghost Games. We're checking out Need for Speed Heat. We have Riley Cooper, who's creative director on the game.
Hello.
We also have Mike Harton, who's the narrative designer.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And then at the controls off mic is Mike Geary, producer on the game. So thank you so much for joining us, guys, for a look at the at Need for Speed Heat.
Yeah, great to be here.
I was going to say, we're catching a cutscene right now. We are playing on a PS4 Pro. But set the scene for us a little bit, guys. What's going on?
Yeah, we got some breaking news here.
So this first scene is introducing the player to the world that we've created, which is Palm City, and our cops, which are our primary antagonists in this experience.
All right.
Yeah, so you're just getting kind of the lay of the land.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Palm City, does it have a bit of a crime problem? Is that
Well, street racers
Gotcha.
are in town.
an epidemic?
Yeah.
I'm living for the bottom bit. Potato voted best vegetable ever. Major news, you guys.
Okay, one, I apologize for the dog in the background. People are moving about the house, so the dog has to make its presence known. Even though it weighs like 5 pounds, it has to be the toughest thing in the house. No, okay, so far, already seeing this cutscene, hearing them talk about it, is making me a little hopeful that there is story here. That there is something that's not just, hey, just do race after race after race to make your car look cool. No, it actually looks like there is some substance here. That was kind of my problem with some of the games after, some of the Need for Speed games after Carbon, because they really kind of got away from that sort of stuff, or at least that's what it seemed like to me, and it really just kind of became like a Gran Turismo or a Forza, which, yes, I understand people like those kind of games, but to me, it's always been, oh, I can just do a race, and then do another race, and then do a race, and there's no real point to any of this, and I'm bored. But with what Need for Speed has always had kind of had the underground street racing angle of, you know, kind of tuning your car to your specifications, then racing against other people. I know they got rid of that sort of slot machine sort of upgrade system that they had in Heat, which I thought, or in Payback, which in Payback, that system made sense given that you were basically in the game's version of Las Vegas. So it kind of made sense. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping this goes back to more the old style where it is, you know, you get money and you go and buy upgrades and you buy customization and, you know, you kit out your car the way you want with money and everything. You don't have to have the spin of the wheel or whatever. Because, again, it was an interesting idea that I don't think worked out exactly the way they thought it would.
Yeah. Controversial.
All right, so we have a press conference, assuming the police department's going to really try to crack down on this issue, and that may be a problem for us, the player.
That's right.
Exactly. So they've created a high-speed task force meant to end street racing, essentially.
Okay. Oh, God.
Okay, yeah, it really sounds like there is a story here.
Straight into gameplay here, which is great. Now I see we're starting at night here. Presumably we're kind of like clicking into some sort of tutorial early, sort of, you know, get your bearings below you gameplay here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
So I know we have like day and night modes in this game, right?
We do.
And does it affect your racing? Does it affect sort of the environments around you?
It does. Night is always street racing. Day is always sanctioned racing.
Mm-hmm.
And so at night you have cops, you have traffic. It's a much more hectic experience.
I was gonna say already, we got a cop right behind us. Chased by one cop.
Now, do we see any difference in the behavior between like the police between day and night?
We do. So day cops basically play by the rules.
Okay.
They're more or less what you would expect a cop to do. And at night, the cops are kind of in it for themselves a little bit. They're
Really?
They're kind of thrill seekers themselves.
Some personal vendettas and axes to grind.
Oh, dang.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to remember the name of the cop from. He was at the very beginning of Carbon, and he was one of your main antagonists in Need for Speed Most Wanted. I think his name was Cross. I could be incorrect, but it kind of reminds me, from what they're talking about here, that's kind of what that reminds me of for what the night cops are, and I kind of like how the cops are different between day and night. You know, like day cops are more, like you said, play by the rules. These guys are more like not vigilante, they're like sanctioned vigilantes, if that makes sense. But back to what he was saying, so we've known about this for a while. I really like this idea of the daytime is sanctioned racing and the nighttime is just pure street racing. I kind of like the idea that, hey, I'll be going on to maybe we'll doing more stuff like on tracks, or I have to have certain customs. Like I have to have my car within parameters maybe for the daytime. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I don't know. But I do like this idea that it's going to be a different experience between the day and the night. I think that's a really neat way of handling a Need for Speed game. It kind of gives you that best of both worlds, that kind of that Gran Turismo Forza sort of feel, but then also still keeping its Need for Speed street racing roots.
And so are they doing like pit maneuvers against you, and you see like a mix of some more avant-garde techniques from the cops at night?
They're definitely more aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more aggressive.
So I know that, like, you know, the police and the pursuit of you know, the law has been a really long-running, you know, theme with the Need for Speed series. How does it sort of evolve in Heat here?
Running from the law?
Yeah.
So, you know, over the time that I've been at Ghost and over the course of the games, the cop's ability to pursue and kind of provide an interesting challenge has evolved. So on Payback, we made huge strides where the cops were much more capable of keeping up with you on this in an open world, which is kind of a challenge. And then on this game, we've evolved it further to be a little bit more grounded, where in general your primary goal is to just outrun them.
Okay.
But you can still battle tactically if there's a good opportunity to maybe knock a cop off your trail.
Makes sense. I suppose engaging in any way is always going to decrease your speed a little bit, so you just kind of want to outrun them. But
and health.
And health. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So how significant of a role is like your car's like health and durability in this?
It is very significant. So when you enter night, essentially your health is always going down, and you're trying to get as much rep as you can before your car wrecks or before you get busted.
Oh, speaking of
which might be
of busted
happening
here.
right now.
Let's check.
He's mentioning the health of the vehicle. That is something interesting. I've not really seen a lot in Need for Speed games. If anything, reminds me of Rockstar street racing game. What was it, Midnight Club? Where your cars did have like a health meter or whatever, but it was right next to the speedometer in the game. I just noticed that right before they started talking about it. I like that we have a visual representation, because I mean, again, I keep going back to Carbon and Most Wanted again, because those are the two games that I have the most experience with playing. Even I still, now talking about them, I want to dust off the PS2 and go play them. We didn't get that. Usually it was when you get hit by the rhinos or those big like SUV sort of police vehicles. That's when your car shut down, or you hit spike strips or something. That was when your car went down. But until then you could crash into anything you wanted. I really like the idea. I am also hoping that there's some really cool visuals of the police arresting you if you get caught, because that was something that was really fun in Most Wanted, was seeing your character get arrested by the cop and his face was blurred out like he didn't sign the release form on an episode of Cops. And that was cool. I love the idea that your vehicles had strikes on them, and if they got so many strikes, they got impounded. At the end, when you beat somebody on the blacklist, you could get extra strikes in your car. You could get extra strikes, so it didn't take 3 and you lose the vehicle. You could get pinks. You could get there was a lot of really cool stuff that I think Most Wanted did way back when, that I'm kind of hoping that I see in Heat. I doubt we're gonna see it in Heat, but I kind of would like to see stuff like like I said, you get busted so many times, you can lose the vehicle. It's going to get impounded. It's 3 strikes. It's done. Maybe like racing for pinks with, like some of the big street race guys. I think there's so many cool things that they could do with this game.
This out.
Oh no. Well.
Sploosh.
Anyone else thought the cop was going to try and like grab onto the car to...
What you do to that sweet-ass ride?
Oh, no.
You lost the car. He lost the car. No, Shaw. This is on you.
You're gonna wish you never survived.
Who says he did?
Oh boy. Is it another cop?
What are we doing here?
Sending a message.
It is.
Wait, stop!
Hey, he said...
We're on camera back there.
Shaw, hold it.
Ooh, we got some tension.
Yeah.
So this is how we work now?
These crews gotta learn. Try making a mockery of my unit, you're gonna take the fall.
Frank, you're smarter than this. You want to send a message? You need a messenger.
You, get out of town. And if we see you or any of your crew around here again, you're gonna be joining that car. You understand? Get up.
Water. That's what he means.
Exactly.
Or
Taking a
just
swim.
Yeah.
Just a light brisk swim. You can already sort of get a sense of the building storyline there.
Yeah, it seems like the law enforcement has had enough, and they have kind of changed their playbook a little bit.
They
But
have.
there's still some tension there.
Yeah.
There is, and they were very upset about losing that car.
Yeah.
So it starts to give you a little bit of a clue
Interesting.
about maybe what their motivation is.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm just going to take a shot in the dark. They want to take the cars, fix them up after they wreck them, and sell them. That's my guess.
But in general as well, cops is what sets Need for Speed apart, having that dynamic. So we really wanted to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Just casually walking back.
Yeah, because otherwise it's Forza. There were a few Need for Speed games that I think were trying to be like Forza. Is like I said, because I know they did, because there were two Most Wanted. That's why I always talk about like Most Wanted for the PS2 and the other one, because there was one that was for I want to say it was in the 360 generation, but I'm trying to remember exactly when. I can't remember exactly when it was, but there was a Most Wanted that didn't have a storyline. It still kind of had the whole racing the blacklist and whatever, but there was no storyline or cutscenes or anything like that. And again, that's what I liked about the older Most Wanted, because there was those live action cutscenes and everything. There was story and everything. So I think they tried to do Need for Speed with no stories. I don't think they worked, and I thought Payback was really return to form for the franchise. I know I can't remember it was the first one that Ghosts did for Need for Speed. Had a storyline, kinda, but it wasn't like what Payback did. I did like that they went with the live action stuff again, but still. I keep going back to Payback. I really like what they did there, and I'm really glad it looks like Heat's going to be continuing. So already a big chunk of my fear has been just completely gotten rid of. A big part of that fear was, oh my god, this is going to be the crew, which has like no story. But no, it actually looks like there's going to be character and story and whatever here. Even if it's flimsy, it'll work. I just need something to pull everything together.
But we're a crew.
Not anymore. It's over.
What? You just gonna walk to Ventura?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yup.
It's a short walk. It's cars in the water.
Probably broken ribs.
Public transit.
Yeah, there's that. There is that. So establishing the stakes early on here, then.
Exactly, and giving us some insight on the crew of cops who we'll see throughout the campaign. So those three characters, you have Lieutenant Frank Mercer, and then the woman was Officer Eva Torres, and then Danny Shaw was the first one on the scene.
Okay.
And you'll see them throughout the campaign.
Awesome. Yeah. How important would you say how big of a role does the story take place throughout the campaign?
I think there's a good mix here. So we're trying to let gameplay lead the way. This time, Payback was much more narratively focused.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a core component of the campaign, but we really wanted to make the experience open to let the player choose to play as much of the campaign as they want or not, essentially.
Okay, you can kind of just opt into as much as...
I don't mind that necessarily in a Need for Speed game. Look, if you want to have the main focus be driving and racing and everything, that's fine. I just want two things. Don't push the online stuff on me extremely heavily. Basically let me, like he's saying, interacting with the campaign. Let me interact with the online community as much or little as I want. That's one. And two, have enough story there that it kind of bridges everything together. It gives me a reason for why I'm doing shit. That's all I ask. Carbon, I thought, was story light. I mean, hell, even that Most Wanted, again, my personal favorite, didn't have a whole hell of a lot of story. It had story, but for the most part, it was gameplay-led. But it was enough there to keep me going, okay, I want to see what happens next. Okay, I want to see what happens next. Okay, I want to see what happens next. That's what I'm hoping for here. They are right. Payback was very narratively driven. I liked it, but I'm a narrative guy. I'm out front with that. So I like the idea that they're letting the gameplay kind of lead. But it's like I said, I just don't want to be pushed into the online space as much. And like I said, just have enough there. That's all I'm asking.
As you want.
Exactly.
Take your own time.
So we have a leveling system, and you can level all the way to the end of the game without playing much more than this opening sequence.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's always nice just to kind of, get the keys, so to speak, and be able to just go in any direction you want.
Yeah. But it's also nice to check out the garage.
Of course. Yeah, so is this a sort of a garage that you come back to recurring?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is really the home base that you'll be in throughout the campaign.
Okay.
And the introduction that we saw just a few seconds ago at night on the bridge was one of our core narrative campaign characters, and that's Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside the garage now, we're going to meet the character of Lucas.
Okay.
How we build a safer future for...
That's enough.
It's a little too much bullshit this early in the day. I hate to do this.
But if you're looking for wheels, I got a CID.
Ooh.
Cops insist.
All right, so now we are the player character.
Exactly.
Got it.
So stepping into character selection here.
Okay.
Which is I think a new thing for us. We haven't had a time where you choose a character in a Need for Speed before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Your own
absolutely. And
character.
that's one of the big differences in narrative this time around. So instead of, we've had in our last 2 releases a silent protagonist that was first person. And then in Payback, we had really defined characters where we basically decided who they were. And in this one, we're striking kind of a balance where the character does speak, but you pick them, you customize them, and mostly, their speaking is kind of questions about what's going on.
Okay.
So we're trying to create space for the player to really inhabit that character.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They're good. Why don't you take a look?
That's great. And I know that, in addition to, from what I've seen of the game so far, that in addition to being able to choose that sort of character as a starting point, that there's a lot of customization just in terms of, what you want to wear and what kind of style you have.
Mm-hmm.
And both, because the car is fully customizable, but so is your outfit, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Beamer, you want to go for it?
Yeah, it was customized.
I don't mind the idea of the customizable character. I do wish, though, that you give the character a little bit something more than just, oh, well, they're just basically asking questions. I'm like, oh, okay, so you might as well just have a silent protagonist, because your character has no personality then. If all he's doing is asking questions and being the audience surrogate, then he's not a character, he's a device. You're a thing, you're not a person. I was going to hope, you saw that blonde guy with the mask. I was figuring that was going to be your main character. Like, you'd pick your character then. I also don't like the fact that it's like, hey, pick which character you want to be, and it gives you all of these options at the very beginning. It's I messed around a little bit with Volta Football in the new FIFA. Well, it's kind of exactly like that. You can design your character, or you pick your character, and then you go through cutscenes before you're even able to customize them. It's weird. I also thought it was, well, no, I'm wrong. Never mind. No, Volta Football kind of let you pick a, and I'm bringing up FIFA because these are both EA games. You could pick the design of your character and then further customize them. In this one, it looks like, no, you pick your character and then you're locked until you can customize them. I wish I could pick the kind of the base idea and then customize. It's just something about just like, well, here's all these pre-made characters. Well, you can customize them later. No, I'd rather do it now. I'd rather kind of get an idea of what I want to look like now, so I don't have to just suddenly change later on. It's weird to me. But yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of went off topic there. But no, I wish that we weren't just sitting here asking questions. We're going to be a part of the narrative. Again, it's like I said, the whole idea of a silent protagonist, that's the same thing. It's just giving the audience something to view through. It's asking questions that the audience are going to want to ask. Fine, but then you don't have to be clever or good with your dialogue. It's going to get the job done, but it's going to be, It could have been better if my guy was a character and not just a surrogate.
Customizing my character for the
you could be
first time
both.
once we had the feature up, and then once I was done with that, I was like, well, now I need to style my car.
Yeah, exactly.
My car needs to go with my character.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an onboarding to kind of self-expression in the game.
That's great.
Sounds good.
And then what's the relation here between these characters? Is he just a sort of on the up and up, mechanic / car dealer, or?
Yeah, he's a clean character,
Okay.
so he's not involved in the illicit activity.
Got
but
it.
as you play through the story a little bit more, you'll realize that it's an area that he's familiar with.
Cool.
And so now we're on the way to the first showdown event. So one of the big concepts of this game is having the Speed Hunter Showdown.
Awesome.
Which is a sanctioned
event.
Yeah, exactly. Sanctioned event. So very, I guess in a sense, Pro Street-esque.
Got it.
Okay.
We've moved into the daytime, a little bit different.
Yeah, I really love the vibe of the city and like how different it feels from the nighttime. Nighttime just kind of has like this sort of like, neon drenched, rain slick look to it, and this is just much more grounded, but still really cool. So, what is I get like a subtle, like a kind of a Miami vibe. Does this actually take place in like a fictional Florida city? Is that kind of what we're looking at, or?
I think that's basically fair.
Okay.
We took inspiration from the entire southeastern U.S., but Miami was definitely one of the spots.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And you'll see things that remind you of those areas.
Kristen, anything look familiar to you here?
Oh, very much so. I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
For reference.
Okay.
You joining us? Nah, man.
So now this is an introduction to what we call driving story characters.
Okay.
So this will be a side quest character you'll meet again throughout the campaign.
So driving stories are side quests.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool.
So, as Mike was saying earlier, you don't have to play the campaign, but if you want and you choose to do the side stories too, you can kind of stay in a narratively wrapped experience if you want as well. You can kind of take it both ways.
Awesome.
I like that.
The hot pink and just like the aesthetic. Like, what can you say about sort of the aesthetic wrapping of Heat in general?
So, there's a few influences, but, we wanted to do something that was felt very modern.
Yeah.
But then also striking a balance, particularly in the sanctioned events, between something that's kind of big and exciting, but also has kind of a street vibe to it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of threading a needle between those two components.
Nice overtook first place there. Well, yeah, it looks really great. And now I know like there's a little bit of interplay between what you do in the daytime and then how that affects when you click over into nighttime. What can you say sort of about like the risk reward of those two modes?
So day is really about opportunity. You can look on the map, you can see which events are available, and make a plan and pick the events that you think you can win that also give you the most bank.
Yeah.
And that is probably the biggest distinction is day's reward is bank.
Okay.
So you go to day to build up your arsenal, your war chest. And then when you're ready and you've built your car to be exactly what you want it to be, both visually and from a performance perspective, you choose to go to night.
Okay.
And then night is very different because night basically you push it as hard as you can, but it will come to an end.
Okay.
And it's because you made it back to a safe house or your car got wrecked or you were busted.
Okay, just basically how far do you want to push it? How lucky are you feeling?
Exactly. And then heat works two ways. So the more you race at night, the more your heat goes up. Which is bad in a way because it means you're going to get more comp attention, but it also acts as a multiplier on the rep you've earned. So you have this incentive to keep pushing it and an incentive to maybe stop.
Okay.
So every night is kind of that challenge, but it's a very different pacing.
Yeah.
And so by having day-night, it allows players to have experiences that are much more relaxed at their own pace. Like day's a great time to look for collectibles, things like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this map seems pretty broad. Like, how would you say it compares to previous Need for Speed?
See, I'm not a massive fan of the fact that night gameplay is more about cred and day is about bank. And just say money. I don't get why you can't just say money. Whatever. I'll use their terms. Just because it's weird to me, because you'd think that it would be the other way around. I'm not saying that like professional racing doesn't have money attached to it, but so does illegal street racing. Like you race for money, pinks. You don't just race for reputation. Like come on, you race for it's like gambling. I don't get why. I mean, there's got to be some part of that, but cred or rep or whatever it must be the biggest. But I'm like, but if there's no money or anything attached to it, that's just weird to me.
Games.
It's since Ghost has had the franchise, so four games now. This will be the fourth. This is the densest road network we've ever had, and I think it's the most drivable world we've ever had. One of the things that we've always known, but we just did a better job with this time, is that dead stops really close to the road tend to produce not the best driving experience.
Okay.
So we've been really aggressive about pushing dead stops away from the sides of the roads, so you can really get into a groove. We've also used, real world road design rules.
Okay.
Which help with readability. So when you're driving, you can anticipate turns in general.
All right.
They're wide enough. The roads are wide enough. Just every detail that contributes to a better driving experience. We've really done the best job we've ever done.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could say that. All right, we're seeing this character again.
Yeah.
So this is the meeting between this Anna character and the player character, and you find that she's related. She's the sister of the garage owner. So that's kind of our connection to the garage through Anna.
Okay.
They're only selling if they know you're gonna put the parts to good use.
I do like her hair.
Okay. Rookie's got confidence. How about a chance to prove you're more than just talk?
Oh boy.
Let's do it.
Give me your phone.
Okay.
I'm Anna. There's only one way to make a name.
She's so cool.
Yeah.
And she's the guide into the night half of the game. So we have Lucas, who kind of introduces you to day events and day characters. And then Anna, who shows us everything night.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
I like her car,
And they're
too.
siblings. It's perfect.
So yeah, of course, these games have a large arsenal of cars. Which one would you guys say is your favorite?
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah?
But I'm into the R34, GTR R34 right now. I got to see some. We did a reference gathering trip in Florida, and we happened upon a group of guys who had almost a warehouse full of imported R34s, and they're quite impressive in person.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my current favorite, I would say.
I'm a fan of one of the starter cars, the 180SX, and with one of the features we've introduced this year, engine swaps, we can kind of keep that car throughout the entire campaign.
Oh, really?
And level it up.
So if you really fall in love with a certain, car model, you can just sort of follow it through and soup it up, or you can follow the new shiny thing if you want. So that's awesome.
That's cool.
And then how would
and I say this as somebody who really loves the starter cars. I pick that and I fall in love with it. Again, I'll go back to what the older games, like Need for Speed Most Wanted. I always pick the Chevy Cobalt as my starter vehicle. And then I race, and I always try and get the blacklist members. I try and win the pink. I try and guess and win the pink slips. And I get the cool fancy cars with the special decals and everything that all of the different blacklist drivers have, and I use them to kind of gain rep and whatnot, and earn money to soup up my Cobalt. So every time I take on a blacklist racer, I'm using my car. I don't buy any throughout the game. I basically either win them or I stick with my original vehicle. I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, why the hell do you do that? I'm like, it's excited, an emotional attachment to this thing, because I've worked and built this thing up. So I like the idea of this engine swap idea that he was kind of alluding to there, that I can really kind of keep my car all the way through and I'm not going to lose out on anything. I like that idea. There was one other thing that they meant that I saw. He was digging around on the phone. I think they saw that live tuning thing is back from Payback. I can't remember exactly how it was, but it was kind of an idea you can tune your nitrous. Do you want it to be more powerful or more duration? Do you want a little bit more slide in your car or something? Just a nice way to kind of play with how you want the car to handle.
Would you say, for me, I've always been a little bit more on the arcadey side of racing games, and I think that a lot of Need for Speeds kind of cater to whether you're a gearhead or more arcadey. But how do you feel Heat caters to either side of the coin as far as what type of racing fan you are?
So our default handling model leans towards drift, as you see Mike taking these corners with a kind of a default car, and it's very accessible. We call it our heroic driving model.
Okay.
But then as you progress, you unlock more and more parts. So one of the things Rep does for you is it kind of lets people know who you are, so then they're willing to sell the better parts to you, because it's kind of it's a tight market because all the racers are in town.
Cool.
And so as you unlock better and better parts, you gain the ability to equip parts that will make your car handle in a more extreme drift fashion or a more extreme grip fashion.
Okay.
And then each of those require more skill.
Yeah.
But they're opt-in. So you can beat the game with the default handling model, just kind of right down the middle. Or if you really want to set the fastest race times, you go extreme grip.
Okay.
And if you want to set the highest drift scores, you go extreme drift.
Okay, so you
so
can
the player
tailor
has
it
a
that
lot.
way.
Yeah, exactly. The player has a lot of agency.
That's awesome. I also got to say, we saw it a second ago, but I love the transition into nighttime, like the sort of like camera flipping upside down, and that was great.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was cool.
So I saw there was a prompt for a second that there was a billboard nearby. Is that sort of a side quest of something you can be doing?
It is. So smashing billboards is kind of a Need for Speed staple.
Yeah.
Little unruly
Just
behavior.
confirming, making sure that's still there.
It is. It is.
So yeah, where are we off to next?
So Anne is showing us, it's essentially an invitation to our first night event. So she's going to show us the night scene and give us a chance to prove ourselves.
Cool. And speaking of nighttime and the cops being a little bit more aggressive, I understand that cops have more than just cars at their disposal when your heat level raises enough. Like what else do they throw at you?
So we have spike strips.
Okay.
We have a helicopter.
Really?
If the helicopter's on you, it's very hard to get away.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have something we call rhinos, which are essentially
rhinoceroses. The animal, I'm familiar. It's
they don't look like that though. They look like SWAT trucks.
Okay, cool.
And they tend to be driven head on right at you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah. So you just take a turn and suddenly there's a rhino and it ruins your race and you gotta adapt on the fly.
It'll take a chunk of health off you for sure.
I love that countdown clock. Like it's great design.
Really stylish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see the aesthetically, like I love the sort of night vibe here.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate that you can opt in and out, and that you can kind of control whether you want to go to one or the other, and balance things out that way. Now I know that usually you have to, once you bank you sort of gain enough points and cash that you kind of have to bank it or you lose it all. Does that mechanic work similarly to previous Need for Speeds, or?
Yeah, Rivals featured a similar mechanic where you it's a similar dynamic. And actually, one of the things we like about this is by having day, now that intensity has a chance to kind of subside, and you can kind of take it a little bit easier during day and kind of drive at your own pace. So we have, we feel like we've by adding day, this intensity level is much more manageable.
Cool.
Yeah. You can have longer play sessions.
Yeah, I like the tension of trying to get to a safe house is something I really liked about Rivals, and I think that's cool that that'll be represented in Heat. And so your heat level, again, so it's sort of like almost like a multiplier, is that right?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So right now, you can see up there, he's got no heat.
Okay.
But it will start to climb. He should have some after that race.
Okay. We'll see some behavior changes from the cops.
You will. Much more intense pursuits in faster cars, more aggressive maneuvers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Check it out. You see anything you like?
All of them. Think they'll be up for a race?
Nice.
I will take that one.
You got a little way to go before they give you a
Add that car too, please.
Who's they?
The League.
Oh my god.
They've been around for years. Showdown
So
floods this place with new blood. They surface and check out the talent. Once you're in, it's access to everything. Best cars, races, carts. You wanna know why we're here every single night?
Yeah.
That's your answer.
This is a typical Friday night for me. Yeah. Believe it. So, I mean, we've been checking out the. Oh, this is cool. Get a sense of the.
I like the map coloring.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's great. How dramatically does sort of one area vary from the other? Yeah.
Quite a bit. There's a lot of character in the world. That was the goal, is to have distinct regions of the world have their own identity. And it's even on that level, it's the best world we've ever built.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, from what I saw, it looks like night racing does only get you rep and no money. That is weird to me. I'm just saying that's odd to me.
It's having fun.
You can keep racing if you want. It's your choice. Just remember, if you're gonna get in trouble, don't get caught. Kinda ruins the whole name-making thing.
I like that load screen.
And then we've been focusing primarily on some of like the more single player focused stuff. But what is the sort of multiplayer element and any other parts of like the online experience you want to talk to?
Sure. There's 3 main components. We'll see if I can remember all 3. The first one is you can go online. You can join an online server, and then when you're in the world between events, other players will be in the world as well. The other is
crew.
that if you're on a server with other players and you start a race, you have the option of inviting everyone on the server to join your race.
Okay.
And then we have a new feature, which is a crew feature. So that garage you saw, when you go back to it, it'll be populated with other players in your crew.
Okay.
And you'll see their character, you'll see their car.
Have a social space type
Much
vibe.
more of a social vibe.
Yeah.
And then in the world, there's events that are set up to be just crew competition.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to, try to set the fastest times in your crew on any of those events.
That's awesome.
Then the good thing about it being, kind of an asynchronous feature is every time you log in, your crew will be there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Made our way back to first here.
Yeah, nice.
Courtesy of Mike's driving.
Let's see if he can hang on to it.
Slamming into trees.
Doing pretty well. Despite the rain.
I'd bet on Mike. We'll see though. It is live software.
Yeah, so this is I also see that there's a map in the lower left, just sort of helping you chart your course as well. Which is really handy. I feel like when you race, do you tend to use the mini map much, or do you try to focus on just what's in front of you?
The mini map is just to make sure that you're on the right course.
Okay.
It's basically a backup tool in an event.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely enough cues to stay on course just by looking at the track itself.
That's the goal.
Oh, nice work. Well, very cool. Is there, one final, story mission or driving mission or anything else we want to check out before we say goodbye? Oh, we're going to maybe try to
push the limits a little bit, push it.
See if we can get the attention of the local law enforcement.
So you can
Hello,
see them.
Mr. Cops.
Yeah. You can see him on the mini map. He's heading straight for him.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
So if you want to antagonize the police,
Hello.
here's what to do. Follow that mini map.
And so their goal is just to, especially at night, just ram you and do damage and get you put you out of service, basically.
Exactly. They want to end your night on their terms.
Gotcha. And the penalty for that being that, anything that you had accrued, is it a big hit to the sort of like...
We don't take everything.
Okay.
Because we don't want you to feel like you didn't get something for your time, your play time, but it's much less.
Okay.
So if you lose your multiplier.
Okay, got it.
So you get a base level of rep instead of, times 2, times 3.
That's good.
Yeah.
And any tips for...
heat level just went up.
Like, my instinct when I'm getting chased by the cops, almost in any game, is like, wait till they're next to me and then I slam on the brakes and just hope that it's like an action movie and they spin out of control and like...
That's
go
a
ahead.
tactic.
That works well in intersections, yeah.
Oh, intersections. That's a good tip.
My favorite is to get them like right next to me, kind of block them in and drive them right into oncoming traffic.
Other pointers for how to shake the cops?
It depends on what heat level you're at. Like at a low heat, it's really good to hit a straight road and kind of outrun these low-level cops.
Mm-hmm.
That tactic expires at higher heat levels.
Okay.
Got it.
One very good tactic is if you knock them really hard, if they pull up beside you and you knock them really hard, they will lose control for a few seconds, and that can be the difference.
Okay.
All right,
Gotcha.
well, we have successfully escaped.
Yeah, well done, Mike, at the controls there. Absolutely. So, Riley, Mike, thank you so much for joining us on an episode of PlayStation Underground. So this is Need for Speed Heat. It is coming out on November 8th, so not that much longer to wait now.
No, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, well, I gotta say, I really do like what we saw there. It really did get rid of a lot of my fears for this game, because like I said, I keep thinking that this game is going to end up not being more. It was going to be more like I keep saying. I keep comparing it to The Crew compared to Need for Speed. No, there's a lot of Need for Speed here. There's a lot of stuff that I really like out of it. Maybe not everything that I would have wanted, but it definitely looks like it's going to be worth the buy and worth the time I'm going to put into it. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the weekly show. We come back every Sunday. I don't have a set time, mostly because since I usually work Saturdays, I wake up and I usually get to work on this sometimes. Sometimes I put it off till Monday because I'm lazy. But either way, this is going to do it for this one, guys. Tell me what you thought about anything we looked at here down in the comments. And as always, like, comment, you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. You can follow me or talk to me on any of the social media platforms down in the description below. That is Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com, along with links to every article / video and timestamps. Other than that, I already said like, comment, not already, please subscribe to the channel. I think we're about done, guys. Thanks for watching. And until next time, my name's AJ Gels, Something Game Channel. I'm out.